Welcome to Grow Your Strength. We're going to get started with some breathing. Whether you prefer a face up or face down position, just take some time to get settled in. Adjust your posture through the neck and shoulders, down into the low back and hips. If you have a big curve in your back, you can tuck that down a bit, or perhaps even do this breathing with your knees bent. Starting to go through some slower breath cycles, trying to access the breath in a cylinder. Hips, privates, everything gets a little expanded on the breath in, and then as you exhale, things recoil. Inhale, expand. Exhale, recoil. We'll take ourselves slowly to a side lying position and continually focus on some slow breaths as you go into the rib grabs. I'm stacking my knees and feet. If your head isn't comfortable on the floor, put a pillow, a foam block there. I'm tucking my bottom shoulder out so I'm not squishing my shoulder. As I rotate away from my straight arm, just taking some time to turn my head, look beyond, and get some rotation through the upper back and neck, not forcing anything. Can hold the open position for a breath cycle, or just continue to roll forward and reset. About 5 of these. I'm taking the top arm off the rib cage and reaching past the bottom hand today, and then we'll just reach up like you're trying to reach for the sky, and then open up that rotation again, looking at the fingertips. How far can you go without a big arch in the back, just keeping the lower posture connected so I'm not flaring the rib cage. Bring the arm back over, spread the fingers. You can stretch the back side of your top shoulder by reaching past your bottom hand and then all the way open. After a couple of those, let's take the arm into one big sweeping circle, just letting the weight of the arm open up your shoulder. And then reverse direction. And just friendly reminder to keep the breath going. The body perceives this as not good stress, opening up. All right, switching sides, reposition, stacking the knees and feet, bottom shoulder there, and then here I go. Sometimes it feels a little more open on one side than the other. So just working with what we have and hoping to achieve more balance, more rotation, improved posture. It's going to help everything with movement and the whole body, but particularly in this upper back and neck area. worthy of the time, not going too fast. After about 5 of those, like I did on the other side, I did a couple of straight reaches where I reached past and then up, open fingers, keeping the knees and feet stacked, watching that I'm not just arching the back. It's going to limit how far I can go. And then taking the arm into a circle, nice and slow. Taking ourselves to hands and knees now for some flexion extension or cat-cow. This takes some time to establish the width of your hands and knees. Open up your fingers. So as you round up into flexion, let your head be heavy and you can gently push the floor away, getting a little stretch through the back side of your shoulders and neck. And then I'm slowly dropping the front side down, gently moving my back into some extension, dropping the chest, pulling my shoulder blades together, looking up. Just going to roll through this a couple more times each way. And breathing in and out through the nose if you can, just taking some slow breath cycles. Don't have to coordinate it necessarily, just feel the end range that you can access in both flexion and extension. Not pushing any extremes, making sure that feels okay. We move from here to hip cars or hip circles. So I'll bring my hands and knees in a little bit. Find the middle ground for my back, so not flexed or extend. I'm going to gently tuck my back toes and take one knee off, and I'm mobilizing my hip, trying not to weight shift to this non-moving side. There's lots to pay attention to here that really makes it more of a core exercise than just a hip mobility drill. So not letting the head drop, keeping the weight evenly distributed, and also the breath. Just taking time to continue your deep inhale and exhale. If you need a little wrist break, then just deload and shake out the wrists, switch sides. That was 2 circles, quite slow on one side, so you get a sense of how fast I'm suggesting or how slow I'm suggesting, depending on how you look at it. I'm gently pushing the floor away, trying to stay connected. Okay, another little shake out of the wrists, maybe a few circles this time. We'll hold a bear, 3 to 5 breath cycles for the bear. So you come back to hands and knees, tuck the back toes, and set the shoulders. So there's no shrugging. You feel like there's a nice connected shoulder position. Float the knees off, and you can weight shift a little forward into your hands, lightly gripping your fingers into the floor. And then try that deep nasal breath in and out. Just like we practiced at the beginning, full inhale. Feel the expansion, exhale. Keep going with that exhale. Feel the recoiling. You have the option to repeat the bear or go into a high arm plank. And with the high arm plank, I'm also going to suggest you could rock through your feet a little. So I step back, tighten up my hips, get all the posture dialed in. Now I'm just pushing away from my hands, getting a stretch through my calves, my heels, my toes. I'm trying to bend all my toes as I rock forward. About 6 of these rocks will give you enough of a plank challenge. And then we'll come off the hands and go into the knee bends and ankle work now. A good way to open up the feet with those plank rocks, and then taking some time. I got my toe spacers on today. Keep those on for a while. So take some time to work the knee and ankle. So lining up the posture through the chin, low back, hips. If this doesn't feel good on your back with your straight leg extended, then you can have do this work like with your knee bent. Finding a place where you can pull the knee in and then extend the leg out is ideal, right? You want to pull your toes down towards your shin. Try to get extension through the back of the knee without locking the kneecap, so it's not hyperextension. Some people are very tight in here and they have to back the strap off. 5 of these moves, and then holding the leg out in that extended place. Make sure you're not stressed out in the neck and shoulders. And then just check, leg is straight. Now let's work on the ankle. Okay, so you point the toes up, get the full range you can access through the front side of your ankle, and then pull the toes down. Push the heel to the roof. Changes things. Rocking the sole of the foot inwards and then out through different angles of the foot. So some with the toes pointed to the roof, you get a stretch through the front side. Feels different when you come down through here. I'll challenge you to go through 2 slow circles, really pulling the whole front side of your foot down towards your shin. Try to keep your legs still. Nice. Okay. I like to take a lot of time to work on this because it's the foundation of our posture. Walking, balance, walking speed, squats, lunges, everything we do is through the whole body. So the foundation of our posture is important. We need to have mobility so that if we do roll our ankle, we don't sprain our ankle or worse. Here's side 2. My knee extension, spread the toes, pull the toes down, legs nice and straight. After 5, you're holding it in that extended position. Spread the toes, work the foot, ankle. And then those slow circles. This hasn't turned into your favorite part of the class. Give it a bit more time. It just might. Roller overhead. Okay, so we're going to take the roller and do a little release through the shoulders next. So whether you have a roller or not, you can do this. I'll demo both. I'm going to go one arm at a time. So sitting the hips back. I'm just using the roller to help open up the shoulder, dropping the armpit to the floor and extending the fingertips overhead as I sort of push back in my hips. But here's what you do with no roller. Right? It's just a little different. The roller gives you that slight height elevation, so I feel like I can kind of sink into the front side of my shoulder better. 3 to 5 of these, just depending on how long you're holding it, how it feels. When I give suggestions like pushing the hips back and the fingertips away, these are movement cues. And if I said something like push the hips back to the wall behind you and the fingers to the wall in front of you, maybe that would speak a little differently to your sort of movement language, and you might get a bit more feeling or stretch response. Here's the thread, the needle. So take the roller to the side. Now I'm taking my free hand between my hand and knee, getting some rotation, looking up gently. I'm going to do about 3 resets on this one. Switching sides. From here, I'm going to take us to half kneeling. We're going to do the half kneeling hinge and rock. So it's your classic half kneeling. I just walk my front foot out a little wider and pivot my back foot. So I've got space to come down to my hand. So it's the down knee side. I tip, and then you can start to rock, weight shift over your hand and then into your heel. And then back to the hand. From this position, make sure you're not in a shrug. So pull the armpits down and just gently mobilize your neck by looking down at your hand and up at your top hand. You can sit into your hip, take a breath, and come up. Kind of feels like a human pretzel. But this is a hip hinge. If you feel like this is too close and this becomes a side bend, doesn't feel good, think about whether or not you can walk your hand out just a little bit more. That looks good. And then you've got a nice neutral back. Take a few breath cycles. Weight shift over that hand again. Turn the head. Just using the body through lots of different angles that we don't habitually do. We do a lot of sitting, a lot of walking forward. So this opens up the hips, right? The hip hinge. So I've switched sides. I walk my front foot out, pivoted my back foot. So if you land too close, walk your hand out so you've got lots of room to sit and stretch out the hip, load into the shoulders and hand and mobilize the neck. I'll do one more reset of this, and then I'm going to come to standing. Nice and open. Good. Okay, so we'll start standing, just moving the weight side to side. If you have a firmer surface or a prickly or sticky mat, then you can use that. I'm going to take my toe spacers off for this so I can use my toes and get some sensation through the foot. This is a great exercise for ankle, knee, and hip stability. So as we go and weight shift, maybe a little longer, are you able to hold that stability, or do you feel wobbly through the chain? As you progress into a single leg balance hold, if this is too wobbly, you can hang on to something or just track your back toe onto the floor as you need to. So for about 30 seconds, let's do this today. So we'll come off with the foot, take the hands together, and start to draw some figure eights. If you watch your figure eight, it's going to make it even harder. So just watching your fingertips. If you make your figure eight bigger, that's going to be harder too. And all the while, we're maintaining this single leg balance posture. Switch directions. We'll go for about 5 more seconds. Playing with the tasks of balance. Okay, good. Switching sides. So into one foot, kickstand or off, and then starting the figure eights. Here, did you try to make the figure eight bigger or Move the hands a little faster and change directions. It gives a little bit more activity through the foot for sure when you start moving the eyes and the hands together. Excellent practice. Okay, finding our squat footprint, hip width or wider. It's just to go into a few body weight squats where you pull yourself down and you shift the weight to one side and the other side, back to center, open up the toes and come back up. So trying to get my toes nice and long and connected. Pull myself down, weight shift. Really sense an even feeling through both feet, knees and hips. And here's the pry. So coming down to the depth that you feel comfortable. You can push your knees out a little bit. Does that allow you to sit your hips down just a bit more? Quite a bit more work through the quads and thighs when you do that. Okay, reverse lunge is next, and I'm going to suggest we go right into a loaded version of that. So taking some weights, stepping back into your reverse lunge about 6 times per side. Remember, those rep ranges are just a suggestion. So here I go, and I drop the back knee and come back to posture. Couple things to be thinking about as you step back. Foot's nice and straight. See if you can get some bend or extension in those back toes. Depending on the health of your knees and how things feel, you might want to go straight down or maybe pitch forward. You can always pitch forward on 1 or 2 of the repetitions to load up that knee just a little bit more. Excellent. Everybody looks good. Remember that you're in control of these weights through the shoulders. So make sure you're not letting them pull you down or take you to one side. Just nice tall posture, looking at something straight ahead. It's usually a good idea. Keep your neck in line. Oh, it's fine. After I take my toe spacers off, my toes feel a little bit more open, and that's always nice for lunging. Knees and squeeze, so it's a row and stand up. So I'm going to keep these same weights, sit back into a hip hinge, pull my elbows to my sides, squeezing the shoulder blades together, and then stand up into a hip hinge. So bend over, row, arms are straight, stand back up, get nice and tall through the posture. Nice even pull on both sides. I want to say 6 or 8 is a rep range to be aiming for. Good, everybody looks good. Staying out of the neck as you row. I'm just thinking shoulders away from ears, pulling my shoulder blades and working those muscles towards the spine. I'm going to take us now to a regular weighted set of squats. We did the warm up with the squat and pry. You could change out your weights, anything from body weight to dumbbells to 1 in the center or 2 here. Find that position for your feet again. Remember, we're pulling ourselves down nice and even. I like to cue breathing in as I pull myself down. Exhale as I stand up and find posture, activating my hip muscles a little bit. Going to a depth I can control, coming back up. So if your depth is here, that's where you're going. You want to make sure this feels good through the body. So don't squat through pain. Knees wide is a good cue because that really puts some more emphasis on the hips. And find the rep range that is not too easy and not too hard, up to 10. This weight is well within my control. I feel like I can pull myself down, not moving my back. It feels great. Okay, so let's go back up, no weights for a moment. We'll go back through a little bit of a balance drill. So I'm gonna go back to the one that I like for stabilizing the ankle, knee, and hip. And I'm gonna take my legs a little wider. So step out to the side. And then a little wider yet still. And then now comes the challenge. Can I step out, come up, and close or blink my eyes for a second? And then over to the other side. Come up, stabilize, close or blink eyes. Let's go through this side to side for about 20 more seconds. So this is your lateral hip stability. As you come up, you're watching that you don't go here. You want to just try and be in control. A wider step makes it harder. Blink my eyes. Up, stabilize, breathe. Last one per side. Let's do one more per side. Nice work. Reverse lunge. Okay, how did those weights feel for the first set? Getting nice and tall in that posture. Step back straight. If you want to add breath, you can inhale as you come down, exhale as you step back up. That's going to help give you some intra-abdominal connection, pressure, and make you more stable. Good. Counting your reps, switching sides. Looking up at something straight ahead. Okay, so I'm going to lighten my weights for my knees and squeeze. Get a little bit more control as I sit back into a hinge. Elbows finish at the sides, standing up nice and tall. Just listening to my body. Decreasing the weights, adjusting the reps. Resistance training at its best. You're not trying to, achieve a certain number all the time through no pain, no gain. That is so old now. God, listen, can't want to get injured. Good, and then for the squats, I'm going to go back to my heavier weights. Last time I just used one, but this time I'll try two. So I'm doubling the weight that I did with the squat the first time. And let's see how this feels, right? If you ever do this and you first rep, you chose wrong, then just switch it out. I'm always trying to increase the loads. Get some adaptations. Resistance training, good for our bone density and our muscles. But there's always lots of factors: sleep, nutrition, stress management, other things you do. They're all factors in how you get through a training session on any given day. Okay, so we're going to the floor now. So that might mean a little sip of water. And we start with double bridges and then into single leg bridges. And then we've got a get up to high bridge. So let's get into position for about 5 double bridges. Gift our hips. So chin tuck. Where's the rib cage at? What's the low back curve like? Do you need to tuck under a little bit so this feels integrated? Open foot position. Lift up, squeeze the butt. Not too low, not higher than this, so that you don't get into an arch of your back. Up, squeeze, down, release. Taking it to the single leg bridge. The tendency might be to take the foot, the base foot, and bring it right to the center. But try and have that stance. Maybe I was a bit wide for my double, so I can bring my feet in so my feet are right in line with my hips. Take one foot off. Can you get up to 10 single leg bridges? This is a lot harder. So maybe you do 3 and then switch it to the other side. Maybe you've built up strength that you can get up to 10, but you want to keep your knee in line, come up, activate that hip, down, release. Next up is the get up to the high bridge and hold. I'm going to do the first one with a ball in my hand, and the get up position, I take the same arm up as needed bent. So right arm is up. I'm nice and connected into my shoulder, so I can check that by punching to the roof and then just pulling the shoulder and shoulder blade down so I feel a nice connection. Open up this bent knee foot and align the posture. So when I'm ready to roll to the elbow, it's just an easy roll up to the elbow. I'm looking at my hand. I come up to my hand on the bottom side, spread my fingers, and adjust the position of the hand so that I can take my weight through my foot and hand and bridge up into this position. You can count 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, and then slowly come down. Maybe you have to move away a little bit so that you can come down and free up your shoulder and then roll away to the floor. I suggest you do that 2 or 3 times on each side and then switch sides. So this is part of the get up. I call it the get up to high bridge. I'm going a little slow with all the talking, so I'm just going to assume that you can do a few of these and then switch sides. There's my rib cage position. Take a breath in, easy roll. See how I'm trying to keep this knee out? It usually wanders in a little when you come up, but then you want to keep it out. And then here, and then 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. This is a great way to get nice and strong through the shoulder. Come down to the elbow, make sure you're not shrugging, and just pull yourself back down to the floor. You can feel the tension and the time under tension of all the work in through your side waist. Okay. If for some reason that doesn't feel good, then just modify. You could just hang out in this position for a little bit. Perhaps you just go to the elbow and don't go up to the high bridge. Make it your own. Okay, one more time through both of these. So that is the double bridge for 5 and the single leg bridge for 10. Chin, rib cage, up, connect, down, release. Maybe I'll change my feet just a little, bring them in. See how that's different. You could even try wider. That feels different too. So sometimes I will put those kinds of things in as a programming variable. You might want to check the posture every time. Have you let your head tip back? Chin tuck. Okay, now single leg bridge. Focus and get the work done. Gift your hip extension. Up, work, down, release. 7, 8, 10. Good. Switching. If you come out of this before me, we're going back to the get up, to the high bridge. 7, 8. Focusing on my hip. It's getting a little tired. My quality is good. I'm not holding my breath. Back into my high bridge. Now, some of you might be ready to take some weight through the high bridge. So I'll pick this pretty orange dumbbell. Nothing changes. Elbow, hand, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. Take your time. Hip, elbow, pull yourself back down. Okay. You kind of know if that felt okay. You want it to feel good. If it didn't, go back to the ball, right? You're not ready for it. So progressively loading, trying out different exercises. This is a pretty comprehensive move. Coming down, elbow, roll to the floor. Looks great, you guys, so good. Okay, we'll move to 2 rounds of the next set, starting with a push-up variation on the wall or floor, and then a press from the half kneeling position. So some folks might be wanting to go to a wall to connect. This fireplace works well. Stepping back, finding a plank position. As I pull myself in, I can feel my shoulder blades coming together and pushing away a little bit apart. Progressions for the push-up. Start with establishing a good plank. So here's my good plank. I could do a mini. I could slowly lower myself to the floor and come back up, reestablish my plank. I could try more of a full depth push-up. A little bit of change in the width of your hands is fine. Try not to have your elbows too flared out. So elbows back on a bit of an angle. You find a sweet spot. So not too wide and not too narrow. Somewhere in there that feels healthy on your shoulder. Good effort, everyone. Really good. A lot of these kind of exercises, it's about how much tension you put into it. You know, like you could be all kind of loose and not have a good plank going on. It's not as good for getting stronger, for sure. You want to try and do it with good posture and good foundation of plank. Okay, half kneeling press from the down knee side. In the half kneeling position, if it feels okay on the knee, you can lightly tuck the back toes, but it does put a little bit more stress on the knee. The other thing it does give you is a bit more stabilization. Now, the further your foot is from your base, the more set, the wider base of support you have. So as you press up, it's a little easier to maintain your core position without side bending or leaning back. Count your reps. As you press up, you're avoiding the shrug and pulling down in through the shoulder. Looking straight ahead. Looks good. And there's 6 for me. That feels pretty good. I'll switch sides. Okay, so I tuck my back toe, walk my front foot out. As I press up, I'm really thinking about keeping my shoulder blade down, trying not to elevate into my ear. Fully extending my arm. Depending on how hard this is, you might have the ability to go a little wider, or perhaps you want to just go straight up and down. I always tend to bring back to what I call the rack position, which is a little bit of palm in, because I've done a lot of kettlebell training, and that's how you hold a kettlebell at the shoulder. So that's why I do it that way. Okay, one more push up. So taking it to a wall, show the wall who's boss. Step back, chin tuck. Create that connection. As you pull yourself in, push away. It's just building on the practice. If you do the reps that you can do well and then take a short break and pop off another rep, that's a good way of just sneaking one more in. Okay. Good. Let's open up the position for half kneeling. And if for some reason the half kneeling position didn't feel good for you for pressing, time on your knee, whatever, you could take it to standing. Pressing from a half kneeling position is a little harder. Look straight ahead, breathe. Stuff. I'll switch sides. So good. I'm going to finish today a little differently. One of the students said she was feeling some tension in through her sides, so we'll finish in a bit of a child's pose, so just sitting back. I don't have my knees too wide. I'm going to stack my fists and just rest my forehead there. So I'm just putting my back into a little bit of stretch through my hips, and then taking some breath cycles, trying to breathe in and out through my nose, getting the breath nice and deep so that intra-abdominal pressure stretches my low back and the sides and into the hips. I'll just go a couple more breath cycles here before we say goodbye. Excellent. Okay, so thank you so much for building a stronger version of yourself with me today.